How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and welcome back to a brand new rumors and leaks video for Pokemon Scarlet, Violet, and just Pokemon in general. Today, we're taking a look at some things you guys may be interested in. So first of all, we are going to be taking a look at some new rumors and new information from the leaker Ku. You guys may not know who Ku is. If you do know, then fair enough. But for those who do not know, he's a legitimate Pokemon leaker. He leaks actual real info, and he's been giving us a bunch of hints lately for the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, but also for a potential remake next year, or just some kind of game related to Unova and Generation 5. So I thought we'd take a look at all the posts, see what's going on, and see what's happening. First, we're starting off with the post that was here from Riddleku. This is his account, of course, up here. By the way, the official trailers tell you the answers to some of our hints. Try your best to squeeze them out, squeeze out all the stuff you have now. And basically, people are asking, when should we expect said trailer? And Necro Felipe is actually an individual that has in the past been, I would say 50-50 correct about when trailers will happen. He's not 100% guaranteed on his info, but he's about 50-50 correct, I would argue, generally, in terms of the information he actually provides. So he says very, very soon, very soon, I guess, or sooner than anyone expects. Tonight, no, they literally don't do things over the weekends. So maybe this coming week, starting now, going into, you know, this next week now, the 17th until the, I guess, 21st, is when we have a chance of something new happening. But here's what Soul says. Okay, for the last big news of today, maybe, lol, according to Necro Felipe, we might get a Scarlet Violet trailer very, very soon. Not always reliable, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a trailer next week or the week after that. The Pokemon Company Incorporated does usually drop news in July, and then I can see just a new Pokemon reveal at the Worlds in August. It kind of, all lines up in my opinion. I'm here for it. Well, I'm here for it too, mate. I'm here for it too. So let's continue to the next thing, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff to go through today. Next thing is this right here. This comes to us from, of course, none else than Soul again, who says, didn't think I'd be making a riddle breakdown threads all day, but here we are. Sado equals third. Now, what are we talking about? Well, there's a bunch of these posts by Riddleku, because the way he does these things is he makes these riddles and these like little mysteries for us to solve, to figure out the meaning behind them, right? That will then lead us to information about the actual DLC. That's what he does. It's his whole game he plays. He says Sado, and then he shows seemingly a screenshot from either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. He shows Zekrom, KYUREM, or whatever. You know, you got them, Reshiram, whatever. Here with the characters from the anime, Iris, and I don't remember the other guy's name. I honestly don't remember the Gen 5 anime much, but doesn't matter. Either way, you got them, and then the second picture says which or none of them, and then it's basically a bunch of, I guess, Dark-type Pokemon. And what we have right here is Umbreon, you got Weavile, Lycanroc, Midnight form, right? And you've got Mightyena as well. So it's a bit of a weird combo, but somebody did say something interesting on 4chan of all places about that post, which is right here. They said, Mightyena appears to be Carmen's signature Pokemon. If you don't know who Carmen is, she's actually, you know, you should be able to know her now about the DLC, who she is, but she's basically the girl character you'll be running into in the first DLC, and she has the brother who we've seen as well. And apparently her signature Pokemon might be Mightyena. And then Ku tweeted this image, is Mightyena getting an evolution or new form happening in the DLC? That seems like the most possible case here, that Mightyena is going to be getting some brand new love and getting some form of new cross-gen evolution. Think Ursaluna, think, you know, Sneasler, something like that. Or I guess Sneasler isn't really like a good one, because that's a Galarian form. Sorry, that's a Hisuian form. But think again more like Ursaluna, a cross-gen evolution that doesn't really, you know, that hasn't showed up in the past, right? Or Electivire, Magmortar, stuff like that. Either way, that was one of the things, and he basically goes on and says the following. So, Sado equals third, and that's the thing he said right there, Sado. Then he says, and final riddle from these riddle games. To be honest, this one stumped me, but what my friend Jan said in the quote retweet made some sense, especially after Ku followed up his riddle with a hint. And what are we talking about here? Well, you look here, want to see the third one today? Everybody said, yep. And by the way, the official trailers tell you the answers. Of course, we already talked about this. He's telling us that we're going to be getting the answers and hints from, of course, the trailer that's coming. But he says the following though, this riddle must be a special form and evolution of existing Pokemon, and Ku's asking us which of those four it could be. If I had to pick one, it would be Mightyena, because our new rival uses a Poochyena, but at the same time, he also gave us the option that it's none of these four, but instead another random Pokemon out there. I usually pick other options as a general life rule. Now concerning the riddle, the blood moon could be related to the Pokemon's lore and function, but I don't know how just yet, or it could just look like what the Pokemon will look like. Also, the phrase best wishes or any of the Chinese text could be important here too. Maybe the wishes mean this is related to Terrapagos, or like my friend points out below, it could translate to those specific kanji, which again points to an old Pokemon getting a form. It's important to note with all of this that in between Riddle 2 and 3, Ku said that rewatching the DLC trailers closely could give us even more hints to all 3 of these riddles. And then here, black and white anime is better than best wishes, and I don't know, maybe this is a hinting at Pokemon getting blood moon form as as related to what he said. So is it possible that a Pokemon is either going to get one of two things: a blood moon type of design, which I don't even know what that would entail and mean, because if you actually think about it, right? If you think about these Pokemon, and you think about the moon right there. So first of all, Umbreon, like in terms of when it evolves and everything, as far as I remember, it's at night, right? Lycanroc is a midnight form. It's a lot to do with like the moon, the night, the dark, right? So clearly it's some form of dark type Pokemon gaining something. And maybe none of these Pokemon that we see right here are going to get that new form, right? Because technically all the Pokemon here have a relationship to it. Weavile is technically, the evolution of Sneasel, but Sneasel has a new form, right? So it could be something like that, a brand new form with a brand new evolution. So it could be that none of these are going to get it, but another Pokemon is going to be getting it that's kind of related to these in some way or shape, which is highly possible. So again, anything is possible with that. Let's continue to the next thing. So this is a post from Yorodin, who's also a leak analyzer, saying, "Our fake that turns from purple to green. Ku stands with our fake stand. Honestly, this generation has so much redundancy in its designs, it wouldn't be surprised if we got a standing Drifloon." So here's the funny thing. So he said Fasuto are fake, and then edible is what he said as well. And he also, I guess, says Ku stand with our fake, which could imply again the fact that we, got like Tentacool and Tentacruel basically just getting their tentacles turned into feet. That's what they literally did. I'm gonna be real. It is funny. This Pokemon is funny. It's a meme, but it's not a very, like, I personally would have preferred if they just made a brand new Pokemon that had this concept. Just a brand new mushroom Pokemon. I think it's a little bit cheap to just keep reusing existing designs non-stop, instead of just coming up with brand new stuff, which of course you could argue, yeah, but whatever. Again, they're doing it because it's easier to sell it then, right? And also, not even that it's easier to actually make the concept, because I'm gonna be real, sometimes I feel like it's actually harder for them to take an existing Pokemon and try to think of a reasonable way to reintroduce it in a different manner, where it actually makes sense, which this one does. It's based on a specific type of mushroom, and there's a whole backstory to it. And same thing goes for Wiglet. Wiglet also makes sense. Like, Wiglet is related to these weird little worms that are underneath the water. It's these weird worms that stick out. They're very popular in Japan, actually. And it actually makes sense there. Like, there's logic behind it, where I feel like they almost spend more time on something like that instead of, they end up spending more time on that than simply just being like, hey, like, make a mushroom that looks memey and a bit dumb, whatever. I honestly think this takes up more time for them. I think like this actually wastes more of their time. But again, I would prefer if they just go ahead and make a brand new Pokemon. Again, sometimes forms are cool, but I feel like it's becoming crutch. Nonetheless, though, could Drifloon be the one? We really don't know, because again, there's a lot of possibilities. Here you have, for example, the balloon wine, which, is a plant, which, well, is also based on a balloon, and Drifloon is literally a balloon, so anything is possible. Plus, it is purple, and, well, these balloon vines are green, so that was the whole thing with the riddle here. He basically was saying there was going to be a Pokemon that was going to get a regional fake, again, a brand new Pokemon that looks exactly like it, but it was going to go from purple to green. So is it possible that it could be Drifloon as well? Well, we do not know. We continue on to the next thing, though, and this is a big one. So, like I said, this video is stacked with stuff, and I want to say right now, guys, if you want me to do a full video, not today, but tomorrow, most likely, on this channel about everything we know, what we want, and stuff like that, and all the rumors and stuff like that about the Generation 5 games, please let me know. I'd love to make a long form video, like 30 minutes or something, where I just go through everything. All the stuff that says it's gonna happen, all the stuff that says it's not gonna happen. I just want to do that. If you want to see that happen, just comment hashtag Unova down below. Just comment that down there, just so I know you guys want to see it. So hashtag Unova, if you want me to do a 30-minute expose on all this stuff that's, you know, hinting towards there being or not being a Gen 5 remake next year. I'd just love to talk about it. But either way, let's jump into this massive post. So, okay, fam, this is the second riddle of the 3 riddles of this riddle game. That's why Ku starts this one out as Secando, so number 2. And I think this is a big one. I think these screenshots below have the best translation and theories for this riddle. Shin equals new. And of course, if you look at the actual post, Secando, don't terasuto what you see now. I see Shin in the pic. What about you? And then he says again, so Shin is new, so this image could be pointing to a new Pokemon. Given the theme of the image, it's probably Pokemon themed around this same time ID too. But don't trust what you see is a very tricky thing to say. Maybe it's not themed the way we would think, or maybe we should look into these 2 scenes and locations more. I don't think this is a R fake again, either based on how many we got based on Scarlet and Violet, nor do I think this is related to the first riddle, all because Ku specifically separated the 3 riddles into 3 themes. But I could also always be wrong. Also, the riddles have been concerning the Scarlet and Violet DLC as far as we can tell. So I'm not sure if this has anything to do with the previous tweets about next year's game, even though this image may seem related because yes, it is, you know, I think it's a White Forest and Black City. The text that goes with the image seems to just be pointing at new Pokemon, not a new game. Reply with your thoughts, refine anything else. And again, there's a few thoughts. For example, down here, Pokesutami says, Katakana English is breaking my poor weak little brain. It's already struggling enough. Secando, second. Terasuto, unless my brain is complete garbage and I'm missing something, obviously he's talking about Terrastall, and Shin is just new. So again, not really much being clear here. People were trying to figure out what this could be about. This is not a tease for a Unova game, lol, or any future game for that matter. It's a riddle for the new Pokemon Ku started teasing 2 days ago. The riddle is saying there is a new Pokemon in the picture somehow. Again, it does make more sense. I do think that just the one hint he gave us about Unova, which if you guys don't know, if you haven't watched previous videos and if you haven't kept up with the stuff on Twitter, because there is a lot and it's easy to miss and it's sometimes complicated to understand, but he basically made tweets kind of related to Generation 5, like asking us what do we want out of the things that he tweeted. And he doesn't tweet stuff like that. And the tweet he made, if I can just find it for you guys real quick, basically summarized, basically more or less just said, like, hey guys, if you could have one of these, which one would it be? And he included in that Gen 5 remakes, Legends KYUREM, which would be a Legends Unova game, right? So a Gen 5 Legends game. Included on top of that was also a few other things. So here, let's see what he actually tweeted, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Trying to find the exact tweet to make sure we get this across. So here is the tweet that I'm referring to for those who do not know what I'm talking about. Basically he says, what's on your wish list? Place your bets. Let's go Unova, Pokemon Legends KYUREM, Black 3, White 3, and Paradox Unova, right? Legends is quite popular in the community right now, huh? Question mark. And interestingly, this is the tweet that started getting people confused because he doesn't tweet stuff like this unless there's a reason for it. He would never tweet this unless it actually means something of this is going to happen. Now, I personally think that Paradox Unova is the one that he's referring to. Now, Paradox Unova can mean a lot of different things, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, I'll do a full video talking further about this if you guys, of course, want me to. Either way, we continue down here, and of course, we kind of came to the conclusion, more or less, that here he's hinting again at another Pokemon that's going to be in the DLC. This has nothing to do with Unova itself. It's just some form of relation, like some kind of Pokemon that will have a connection to both the past and the future at the same time, possibly. Seemingly, that could be the case. Next up is this post right here from Soul Silver. Says, new digital version of the Nintendo magazine Japan dropped, and there was a tiny bit of info on the Teal Mask DLC. It's crazy how they're pushing experiencing it in the summer when it's planned to release in the fall. Why don't you have a great summer in the land of lushy greens, I guess? Well, I'm sorry, but yeah, it is a bit odd though that they're doing stuff like this. Other interesting point to note, it says that Kitakami is home to Pokemon not found in Paldea, which probably just means there are new old Pokemon, but I'm wondering if it will be exclusive to these Pokemon or if Paldean Pokemon will be there too. It also highlights the Pokemon masks, maybe because of their importance to the plot, and again, highlighting Snorlax being in a good mood is a bit sus to me. It also touches on the tale of the Loyal 3, but nothing too big, just the tale is old, so it happened a long time ago. Could even be a myth, so details may have been lost to time. Can't wait to see some action actual news. And again, this was just in the Nintendo magazine from Japan. Nothing too crazy. Screenshots, some of the screenshots, I think the screenshots here in the bottom, one of them looks like one I haven't really seen much. My face is blocking it. It's the one right below here. Looks like one we haven't really seen before. I could be totally wrong about that, but it does seem like the case. And then we continue on to some of the other images. It's just mostly about enjoying summer in Kitakami, but it's, again, like he said, it's not coming out until the fall, which is still ways to go, man. We're in the middle of summer right now, so it is what it is. But yeah, if you guys want to look into it, there's going to be a link here. So guys, just go on to Soul Silver's Twitter and you can check it out there. Let's move on to the next thing though, which is coming to us from Light. Now, Light has a whole just giant little post here about this Generation 5 stuff. And basically he says, this can give us some hints for the next game of Pokemon, the Pokemon Company. And most likely, I want to think it's a Black and White 3 in a future Unova, as I mentioned before. 1, there'll be a moment of the day when some type of moon will appear and some kind of strange Pokemon will be able to catch. This Pokemon could be Paradox Pokemon due to this region it could be in and some kind of timeline distortion. Sado could be the surname of this character as a hero. Link is the hero of Hyrule and time, so there could be some relation there. 3, in the Pokédex entries, there's a lot of future information about Pokemon games, and when we search for KYUREM, this appears. This legendary ice Pokemon waits for a hero to fill in the missing part of its body with truth or ideals. 4, witness the rebirth of a king. As I said, this hero could be the real king and the one who can bring back the original dragon, so there's a chance that the main character will control is this hero or king. And then, again, this game will be important lore-wise with the time and space, so I'm really confident we'll see new paradoxes and know more about them. Really excited for this first trilogy, which I don't know if that's going to be the case. Again, I don't know. I would like to talk about this more later down the line because I do have a lot to say about this. There's a whole post, there's this whole collage that somebody made, which looks really cool and has a lot of details. But again, I want to do that in a future video if you guys want me to, of course. But let's continue on to the next stuff here that we have. First of all, Light says, after all the info we are getting with the next events and the lack of info of the new trailer of the DLC, be prepared to receive this early week, a new trailer of the DLC in other categories. We could probably be receiving some new Pokemon and new mechanics revelations. So yeah, what do you guys expect in this case? So I do think we're going to get a trailer as well this coming week now. Like starting from tomorrow, we're on trailer watch, right? Just waiting for it to happen. I do think it's highly possible. And this is, by the way, this kind of like giant like collage that's been made covering a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to take a look at this more in depth. Again, I want to do it in a different video. But shout out to Mordecai's Pokemon for making this list. It's actually pretty cool, like some of the stuff he's kind of put together here. I just think it's cool to include in the video if we do one tomorrow. So we'll look more into that. But basically, it's all these connections and stuff that make total sense as to why a Unova game should happen. But I have some stuff I disagree with. Then we have Central Pokemon, which is just a leak aggregator who said, would you be okay with the following hypothetical? We get a new game set in Unova, developed by Game Freak, but they skip the Unova remake completely for now, and the next remake is Kalos on Generation 10. Also, it's crazy already being able to talk about Kalos remake. That can happen in the not so long term, feeling so old long. Man, I do not know if, I don't know if I would want that. I don't think a lot of people would want that. I mean, you guys can let me know. Would you prefer them doing a Legends game of KYUREM and just Unova and skipping over Unova and going straight to remaking Generation 6? Because that would be crazy, man. Like, that shouldn't be happening for another 6 years, but it could be speed-rolled like this, and just jumped over. I don't know, man. And apparently this does seem like the kind of case right now, which is next year's game hype has completely killed the DLC hype for me, which seems like the case for a lot of people. A lot of people just do not care about the DLC anymore. A lot of people never cared about DLC. My fiance, my girlfriend, whatever you want to call the beautiful lady, she doesn't give any hex about the DLC. She loved Scarlet and Violet. She enjoyed it. She was excited for it. She was excited for Sword and Shield. She was excited for just all of them, except the DLCs, because there's just no interest there for her. And I've noticed with a lot of people, they just do not care as much about the DLC. It just doesn't seem as interesting to people. Because yeah, it's just DLC. That's the thing. DLC is usually not that hyped up unless it's like really massive. We're the only ones hyping it up because, well, this is our thing, guys. We're just addicted to Pokemon. So again, I don't really know, but are you guys excited more for the DLC or the Unova games? I'm curious to know. Let me know in the comment section down below on that too. Next up is this right here. And this is a prediction of things to come that could happen, because again, there's a lot of hints. He says 2022 PLA, which is the past. 2022 Scarlet Violet, the present. 2024 Unova in the future. It is possible that maybe there will be a kind of, again, think about it. When we look at, like, you know, Opaloosa City, time's dividing line, basically a place that's split between the past and the future, right? And if you think about the tree and the city, you know, it's past and future meeting in the same place. Is it possible instead of it being a Legends game that is going to be a game set in the future rather than in the past? That's highly possible too. You never really know, man, because we do have Paradox Pokemon, which are from, you know, the past and the future. At least what they look like, they're based on the past and the future. So anything could happen. And then, of course, Central said Paradox sequel. Well, a Paradox sequel would be a whole game, right? And there was another sequel, which was Black and White 2. So there was the only games that had sequels technically in Pokemon, unless you count Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I guess would be the only ones where I can count them as proper sequels, I guess. But the only ones I can really think of as having a number attached that would make them into a proper sequel would really be Black and White 2. Paradox sequel would imply, hey, we're going to another game where the past and the future are going to intermingle in the middle, which honestly would be pretty cool. But that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.